The day I told my mentor that I started Basic 1 at age 10, wrote my common entrance from Basic 5 because I was already 15, only attended JSS 1, had to drop out because of relocation. I wrote my WAEC after just 1 year of extra lessons and I cleared all my papers. She was surprised. She kept asking me, how is that possible? How is that possible? You mean you did not attend JSS2, JSS3, SS classes and you wrote WAEC? And I said, yes, I did. And it was possible because I was ruthless with my future. I was so ruthless. I was seeing my future ahead of me. But let me not get ahead of myself. So in my previous video, I mentioned how my father took me to the village to live with my stepmother's parents and left me there and went back to base. I remembered watching him leave. I don't even remember him looking back. All I could remember is the dust rising as he went and me standing there trying to understand what just happened. I kept hoping that he would look back and tell me I'll come back for you soon. But he didn't. I told myself maybe this was temporary. Maybe this is how life worked. Maybe I was overthinking it. But deep down inside of me, I felt something wrong. Living with my stepmother's parents became very, very unbearable. I follow them to the farm every day, even when other kids has gone to school. I go to fetch water from a very long distance. I cook, I do house chores from morning till night, sometimes with empty stomach. I was a child, but I never felt like one. I felt like a help. I felt like a labor, like I don't belong to myself. One day, my aunt, who lived in the city, came to the village, and when she heard about my situation, she sent for me. When I got there, she saw the way I looked, and she gave me some clothes because I had none. I could remember how much I treasured those clothes, like I was holding them like treasure. They were not just clothes, they were dignity. They were, a proof that someone saw me, that someone cared about me. Those clothes was the first, good clothes I'll ever own. When I got home, my stepmom's father collected those clothes from me, and before I could explain anything, he threw them into the fire. I stood there helplessly watching the only thing that ever, mattered to me turn into ashes. And his word still echoes in my head. I can still remember his word. What he said to me in a dialect that you are my property. If anyone wants to give you anything, it must come from me. Property, that word did something to me. It kept echoing in my head that I went to bed at night with so many questions. Why did my father bring me here? Why do I have to live with these people instead of my step grandmother? Why would a grown up man say that I was his property? I was too young to understand power, to understand control, to understand bitterness. But as young as I was, I understood pain. The questions kept coming, but answers never did. One day, my stepmother's brother came from the city, and I was told I would be going back with him. I didn't know whether to be happy or to be afraid. I just knew I wanted to leave, you know, with the hope that I'm going to the city, maybe things would be better off. We left the next day for the city, and the journey was long but felt like hope. And when we arrived at his house, he called me and told me something that I did not expect. He said to me that I was not going to stay with him, that I was going to stay with a family somewhere who needed someone that would be taking care of their house, with the promise that they will enroll me in school. And here in school, my heart jumped. I was happy because to me then school meant escape. School meant possibility. School meant maybe my life will not end in the village. You know, I didn't even care the kind of life I was going to be living, the kind of house chores I was going to be doing. I didn't even care where I was going to be sleeping. I didn't even ask him questions. And who am I to ask questions anyway? As long as I could go to school, I was ready for anything. But I had no idea what was coming. I have always carried hope in my small hands. carried fire in my heart. And every step I took right from that village up to this moment was a step towards claiming the land they said I would never have.